A man stands on the rooftop, maniacally tossing cash down to the street below. He deliberately stirs up a commotion among the onlookers gathered beneath him, but his actions aren't driven by a grudge against the money itself. Instead, he's orchestrating a jaw-dropping scheme because his brother Joey is in the midst of a heist at the building across the street. As everyone's attention fixates on Nick, Joey springs into action on the opposite rooftop. They start by arranging the bomb's fuse in a circular shape, then use a steel plate as a base. They drill a small hole in the center, place the bomb inside, and finally cover it with a mattress. With everything set, it's time for Nick's performance. Nick motions as if he's about to jump, eliciting screams from the crowd below. The police, alerted by the commotion, swiftly arrive on the scene, establish a perimeter, and dispatch their top negotiator, Lydia. Firefighters also set up an inflatable cushion. Unbeknownst to them, Nick's actions are merely a ruse to use the screams from below to mask the explosion sounds from the opposite building. Sure enough, the people on the street remain oblivious to the blast that just occurred on the rooftop across from them. Meanwhile, Joey has successfully infiltrated the Diamond building through the hole created by the explosion. He enters the administrator password and rides the elevator to the top floor, sneaking onto the level housing the Diamond vault. The negotiator on the scene inquires like a friend, asking if Nick is facing any problems. She notices his hands are trembling. No one can remain unafraid at such a height. At this point, Nick hands her a note containing his last words. The expert realizes Nick doesn't actually want to commit suicide. His actions must have a specific purpose. It turns out that 2 years ago, Nick was framed for stealing the Emperor's diamond worth $40 million. The day before his father's funeral, he had been granted a one-day parole from the warden to attend. At the funeral, Nick got into a fight with a friend, and when the accompanying prison guard intervened, Nick knocked him out and escaped. In a hotel room, Nick wrote his last words before heading to the rooftop of the city's tallest building, where he's now orchestrating a grand plan. Joey has already reached the surveillance area, fortunately well prepared. He lies on a skateboard as his girlfriend covers him with a cloth matching the floor's color, swiftly gliding past into the camera's blind spot. Joey takes a photo of the surveillance camera's view, prints it out, and tapes it over the lens, creating the illusion that the hallway is secure. The security guard in the monitoring room doesn't notice anything amiss. Joey could even dance beneath the cameras without being detected. The negotiator continues conversing with Nick, seeking an opportune moment. However, Joey encounters a new problem. The hallway is equipped with temperature sensors, something they hadn't anticipated. With the negotiator right in front of him, Nick can't directly answer questions. He can only communicate indirectly through his conversation with Lydia, as difficult as it may be. Fortunately, the brothers share a strong understanding, and Joey grasps the general idea. The thermal sensor is designed to detect human body heat, so they just need to lower its temperature. Joey comes up with a solution. Dry powder fire extinguishers have a cooling effect. He sprays an entire extinguisher onto the thermal sensor, coating its surface with a thick layer of frost. This allows them to safely pass through. They face the final barrier to the safe. They can't open the thick, heavy vault door and must find an alternative entry from the side. Just then, the security team leader is about to lead his squad to investigate. Nick thinks on his feet and pulls out a wad of cash from his pocket, tossing it into the air. The crowd swarms to grab the money, successfully blocking the security team's path and buying time for Joey to enter the vault. Inside, there's an array of rare treasures, but the most precious Emperor's diamond is nowhere to be found. Nick feels a wave of despair, forced to initiate Plan B. They deliberately trigger the alarm to lure David, the owner, to personally check the vault. It turns out there's a hidden door leading to an inner safe that requires David's fingerprint, facial scan, and an 8-digit password to open. The Emperor's diamond is stored within. David relaxes and pockets the diamond, instructing his men to find the thief. At this point, the SWAT team also drops in from above. Nick, with no intention of jumping, can only hide along the window ledge before breaking the glass and entering a room. David returns to his office, where Joey has been waiting. The two successfully acquire the diamond, handcuff David to the safe, and remove the bullets from David's gun before tossing it into the trash. Nick runs up to the rooftop in one breath, with the SWAT team in hot pursuit. Seeing no escape, Nick has no choice but to surrender with his hands raised. At this moment, David also arrives on the rooftop. He takes Joey hostage, demanding the diamond's return, threatening to throw them both off the building otherwise. Left with no choice, Nick complies. However, David has no intention of letting them go. He leaves the rooftop with the diamond, telling the police chief he doesn't want to see Nick again. The chief orders Nick to jump off the building himself. David departs the hotel as a victor, diamond in hand, waving mockingly at Nick. Without hesitation, Nick leaps from the top floor, fortunately landing safely on the inflatable cushion. He quickly pushes through the crowd to confront David, retrieving the Emperor's diamond from him. Nick holds up the diamond, displaying it to the people. He reveals that the Emperor's diamond had been in the wealthy David's possession all along, and that he himself didn't steal it, thus proving his innocence.